welcome everybody to another webinar. First of all, give me a yes if you can all hear me, and a yes if you can see the screen currently looking at the Euro New Zealand trade. Once again, I am still away from home, so I do not have my 4 monitors. That means I'm working from my laptop, so let me know if there's any issues with lag. There haven't been over the last couple of webinars. There's no issues with the resolution, anything like that. But if there is, please let me know, and I will say sorry, there's nothing I can do about it. But fingers crossed, there are no issues there. This is YouTube Live, so there is around a 15-second delay, and because I am using just a laptop, that means I'm using my mobile to monitor the chat. So multitasking at the moment until I get back home, as I say, to my 4 monitors, which I am missing greatly. Really missing those 4 monitors. So I'm going to say good morning to, who do we have? Peter, Sarah. Sarah, is it not like 4 in the morning where you are? Marcus, Anthony, Ashraf, good morning to you all. Now, I haven't as yet got a yes from anyone, so I don't know if you guys can or cannot hear me, so I'm just going to type in the chat, or whether it's just a big delay. Can you guys hear me? Question mark. Okay. I got to say that the Wi-Fi, and that's all I have access to is the Wi-Fi, has been a little slow. Let's go and take a look at, get rid of that. Right, okay, so it's my phone. Okay, I'm looking at YouTube on the computer, but my phone is frozen. Okay guys, sorry. As I say, I do need to do it from my phone for the chat, otherwise I just can't, I won't be able to read both. So if you wouldn't mind bearing with me, and I'm going to try logging back into YouTube Live. Oh, come on. Videos. Notifications, YouTube Live. Okay, Anthony, you were the last one to say yes. Right, looks as though my phone is now working. So apologies about that, guys. Sarah, yeah, I'm so tired. You must be shattered. That is commitment, though. Staying up till this time just to listen to me. Thank you. Peter, Vinco. Right, so now that you can see that, let's go back and see if we're going to see this trade hitting. Here we go. Okay, we're just a few pips away from hitting this trade now. So if you're a fully subscribed member or here at forexeducation.co.uk, then you would have got the signal for this trade last night. Give me a yes if you are in this trade. And while I'm waiting for the response from people, the couple of things to run over. The purpose of this room is to review the opportunities that meet the rules outlined in the educational material at Free Forex Education. In other words, we have a minimum of 14 strategies that have been back tested, forward tested, live tested for a long period of time, and they are proven to be very profitable, and they are the strategies that we trade live within the chat, within these webinars, and within the signal service as well. So we've got a couple of yeses here. Marcus, yes. Marcus is on a roll. Will this be your 4th win in a row, Marcus? I think it will. Sarah, this will be like your 8th win out of 7, or your 9th win out of 8, something like that. She's on a roll as well. Ashraf, yep, in it as well. This is the pound New Zealand, so I'm going to have to spike past this probably 3 or 4 pips. For those of you, Vinco, you're not in it. Why? You're a fully subscribed member. Did it not meet your rules? Did you not get the signal in time? What was your reason? And of course, when you get the signal, you don't have to take it. It's entirely up to you. You know, they're my rules. The spread too high. Fair enough. It was about 5 to 10 at night when I was able to get the entry. So I, as quickly as possible, put it in the chat forum, and I put on there that don't let the spread stop you out, manage the trade. And as soon as I entered, I put my stop 30 pips back and my target 30 pips lower. So the spread didn't get me, because the Euro New Zealand does have that big spread, and true to its word, come 10 o'clock I had a 13 pip spread and it dropped 15 pips into profit, so it actually showed a profit of 0 at that time. So but just to run through this, because these are not my normal charts. My normal charts are on a VPN. They're on a dedicated server. These are on my computer, so I'm going to have to redraw out what this trade was, and I'm going to draw it like this. I think it was actually on the 5, but anyway, it's valid here on the 5. Oh yeah, it was on the 15. We're on the 60, aren't we? Let's go to the 15. Price alert. Okay. That's annoying. Okay. You'll have to give that a minute, guys. I can't turn the text alert off because I'll lose the screen on my phone. Sorry about that. It'll stop in a minute. There we go. That's the alarm I have for my alerts, guys. So that's what wakes me up at 3 in the morning, because I like to make sure when my targets are hit, I get filled. So this was a low and tight flag. I did send out a video on this, as well as the signal, explaining the rules and why we got involved. And you can see I'm actually front running my position here by a full 5 pips. So the target is the 127. So because the spread might be, say, 3 pips-ish, something like that on the Euro New Zealand, then it should take the profit just before it hits the 127, in theory. Okay. So even though we're pushing past our take profit right now, this is not the time to get worried. This is the time to wait, allow the trade to flourish, allow the trade to go down and hit its projected targets. Khan, welcome. Bosa, welcome. Bosa, yeah, both hit. Fantastic, Bosa. Vinco, terrible hour. It is. Do you know, for the life of me, why have they not got rid of it? I mean, the market, that isn't even the time the market closes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the time the market closes is 4 o'clock GMT time for a microsecond, and there's no difference in fees. So I do not understand for the life of me why come 10 o'clock, you know, all the brokers, we just increase the fees. It's just crazy. Marcus, 5 p.m. New York time. So yeah, it might be then 2200 hours. I can't quite remember, to be honest with you. But I think they should just abolish it. There is just absolutely no need for it, other than the brokers making more money on the changeover. So yeah, less volume. Here's the thing, though. Yeah, there is less volume at that time, but 15 to 20 minutes later, the fees come back down to some sort of normality. So, you know, there's only less volume because people may exit or may not enter during that 15 minutes. So if they abolish the high fees, the volume would just be the same as it is at 9:45 and at 10:15. So crazy. Anyway, if I was in charge, that's what I would do. It's the change of value date. Well, there you go. So 47 up here. This is, I worked this out to be around a 49 pip winner, something like this. I should not have said winner before we go on and hit. But Marcus, how profitable are low and tight flags? Yay. Winner, winner, winner. Chicken dinner. There we go. The most profitable strategy we have. And I'm just going to go over to... by the way, guys, first of all, apologies, first of all, with all the issues we're having this morning with the chat. I've spoken with Matt, the IT guy. We made lots of improvements last night, which was great. However, the chat... the chat goes back 24 hours, which is fine. But what happened is when we added the new flames, and I'm just going to go and show you the chat, by the way, just bring it up. Okay, so this is the new upgraded chat. So we've now got good grief, what have we got here? We've got the ability to upload pictures. So you can see my ugly face just over here, if you can see that. Next to it, we have a flame. And over here to the right, which is the current people that were logged on. We actually had quite a lot of people logged on this morning, but I know there was issues and a lot of people logged out. This flame, what it does is, if you're blue, like this one here, it shows that you are very light in terms of chatting within the chat system. But as you do more chats, then your colour will increase. In actual fact, I think Matthew, the IT guy, has had to reset it because everyone's gone to blue. No, that means that I've lost my flame. Anyway, if you're not part of the chat, you don't know what it is. But if you are, well, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And what that flame does, the more active you are, it will go up in colour until you get to the point where the flame is red. And then when you are very active, it will actually burst into flames to show you're an active trader, and it will show all of the traders that you're very active within the chat. That will also should show that you're very knowledgeable, that maybe you've also done some of the educational material or all of it. There are other things to be added to this as well, okay? Stars and symbols and things like this. We're not going to make it too complicated, but what was happening is every time somebody posted in the chat, it went through every registered person to update their flame. And anyway, that was causing the system to go slow. So he's fixing that now anyway. But it looks like we're all going to be blue. We're all starting again. Extremely profitable. Yeah, Marcus. In fact, what I wanted to do was just go over to latest trades. And I have done this a few times, but for those newbies, and we have had quite a lot of newbie people in the last week. We've had around 7 new people register. Only a couple of them have been in the chat. So if you're one of those people, come and join in the chat. Introduce yourself. You know, we're very welcoming here. If you've got any questions, tell us the type of trader that you are, type of trader you would like to be, your appetite to risk, the types of things you would like to learn, trend continuation, breakout patterns, advanced patterns. Be part of the community, because there are many people that have already found a huge benefit of being part of this community. Sarah's not been here long at all, and she's already loving it. We've got Pete. He's really feeling the benefit of being part of the community and holding the trades, allowing the trade to play out, and it's resulting in profit. In fact, I think Pete posted he's at 18% profit since joining the platform, which is, you know, fantastic news. So I wanted to go ahead here and show you the most profitable strategy that we have, and it is the high and low and tight flags. And it is only the most profitable strategy for, well, a couple of reasons. Let me ask you guys, why do you think that we have profitable strategies, or why this is a very profitable strategy? What do you think the reasons could be? And we'll come look at the chart shortly, guys. I don't have anything at market, so nothing to run through, but we'll get to the charts in a moment. Vinco, beautiful trade. Compliments, Chris. Thank you very much. Whoop. Sarah, loving it. The community is a huge help. Fantastic. The reason why not just this strategy, but all the other strategies are profitable is because we've thoroughly tested them, and we have strict rules that we adhere to. And particularly for the low and tight flag, there are very specific rules that we follow. And the win rate on this is currently 74%. In actual fact, it's going to be more, because we've just had this trade right here has just won for, I don't know, 48 pips or so. So that win rate is a little bit more, maybe something like 75%. So whoop, whoop. Lovely to see that. Let's get stuck in then to the charts. Nope, that's not what I want. If you guys have any trade ideas, please let me know. I will go and take a look at them. Apart from that, I did have a couple of things on the radar, which I will go over to right now. What's going to be the best one to look at? Aussie dollar, dollar yen. Okay, let's just start off with the Aussie dollar CAD. Aussie dollar CAD is at new lows. I don't have all my data loaded on this chart, but I went back 3,000 candles on the daily, and that took me to 2011, and this is the lowest point that we've been since then. And I couldn't load any more data just because it's on the laptop, it wouldn't take it. So I don't know if price can come lower, but if I put a structure level on down here at our very lows and we zoom in, you can see that we actually have a confirmed break below, close below, a confirmed violation, which is an indication here that we're going to go lower. CAN, Euro, Pound, retracement. Okay, retracing. CAN, the Euro Pound has been on nothing but a bullish rally for a long time. I did have a quick look at that, and there wasn't anything that I would be interested in, but we'll take another look at it. What is it exactly you're looking at? What type of move? Just a retracement? Are you looking at buying, selling? Yeah, okay. So we draw this out from our swing high to the lowest point down here, and we saw a retracement, then we saw a new low, then we saw a retracement, then we saw a new low. Now we've only just made a new low, and if we remember the training for trend continuation, and this is trend continuation. Vic? Yeah. Sorry, bear with me. Sorry about that, I had somebody ringing the phone. Oh, I can't wait to get back home to my computers. So what we're looking for trend continuation, this is a confirmed break below, close below. However, my concern is we are at the lowest points that we've been for a minimum of 8 to 9 years, and we've only just made a new low. And for trend continuation, we're typically looking for long extensions and small retracements, long extensions and small retracements. Obviously, this is still playing out, so we could just still see this thing be a long retracement. But right now, sorry, a long extension, but right now it's retracing, and I would be concerned about playing for an extension here. Playing maybe for a small retest is something I would be interested in, but we are also at this 9100 psychological number. So this is an example of, while everything is pointing in the right direction, maybe we want to be a little bit cautious on here. Vinco, pound dollar, trend continuation on the 60. Okay, we'll go take a look at that soon. Let's go and take a look at the 240. There really isn't a great deal here. I'm going to put a structure level on at the lowest point, and nothing really here on the 240. Let's go and drop to the 60. And as we look at this, it's just junk, to be honest, guys. We had a move lower. Guys, did we win on this low and tight flag? No, it wasn't valid. I don't think we did. It was actually a triangle. I don't think we did, but we had a move lower. And then we've seen a pullback into the middle of this area. Now, these breakout patterns can be fantastic areas to get short if there is room to go to the downside. Now, we've just proven here on the dailies we've had a confirmed violation to the downside, and so that is an indication that we can go lower, and we've seen a pullback to the middle of these patterns. Those of you that have been with me for a while will hear me talk about this time and time again. If there's room to go lower, the middle of these is where we want to look, and we put in some lovely candlestick formations here. We had a big bullish candle, an indecision candle, and then a red candle, and then a lower low, lower close. And then we've just kind of run out of steam here. So nothing right now for me, but let's go and take a look at the 15. There could be, does look like you've got a head and shoulders that's setting up here. But for me, we've already confirmed that we're going lower by having that break below, close below. And just to show you the head and shoulders, that would be the left shoulder, the head. This would be the right shoulder. The problem, guys, is that everything is indicating bearish, and we would be buying the market up when everything's indicating bearish. So even though this looks like a head and shoulders, we want to be extremely careful because we haven't come into structure for the head. See here, we haven't come down into structure, and typically these are rotation patterns. We need to usually come into structure, and so what I'd be waiting for here is a violation of this structure level, a potential pullback, and then maybe we can look for a long opportunity up to this level. Let's just go and take a quick look at the 5. Other than that, I'm not really interested in this. We spoke in the last webinar about the Euro New Zealand being a head and shoulders, and if you was in that webinar, we spoke about my concerns. Very similar to this, we didn't come into structure. We didn't have a violation to the top just here, and so it looked like a head and shoulders, but it wasn't one. And we talked about how we could get involved with the left shoulder, and there was a double bottom, and we'll actually come to the Euro New Zealand and just go over that because it will play nicely into what we're talking about here. So anybody got anything on the Aussie dollar CAD? So for me, really, I'd just be waiting for a violation here, and we'll take a look and see if it's worth getting involved. I'll tell you what you do have here is you have this double bottom right here. And if you throw a fib on from the swing low to the swing high, you can see price came into the 61.8 fib, and we are now seeing a reaction bullish from it. So we could actually here, if you're using that as a little bit of confirmation, see a move up to this structure level. So this might be a trading opportunity on the 5. Would there be enough room in it? Oh yeah, there would be. There'd be enough room in that, guys. So because I only have a few charts open and I don't have my alerts, keep an eye on this, guys. We'll see if we get a violation and a pullback and maybe an entry into this, and we'll review it again. Yeah, not much. Okay, Marcus. So let's go and take a look then at, well, in actual fact, let's go to the Euro New Zealand, because that head and shoulders will fall nicely into what we discussed on the Euro New Zealand the other day, and my concern as to why I didn't want to buy it up. Now, would you just give me a yes, those people that were in the last webinar when we spoke about the Euro New Zealand head and shoulders? In actual fact, guys, am I getting confused? Am I thinking of the Euro Aussie head and shoulders? 1 second, it might be the Euro Aussie, guys. I can tell you one thing for sure, it was a Forex currency pair. Euro Aussie is the daily one. I would have liked to have found it. Yeah, I'm looking at short in the market when we get up to that 61.8, but there was one. I could have sworn it was the Euro New Zealand. I wonder if it was on the lower time frame. You know what, was it on the 15? No. Yeah, no, this is it though. This is definitely it. It was Euro New Zealand. Sarah Bosa. Yeah, Pete, you're wrong. Right, okay. So let's just talk through the Euro New Zealand then, so that it ties in with what we've just discussed. So here on the Euro New Zealand, first of all, I'm waiting for the market to go higher based on this head and shoulders. So we've got a double-headed potential head and shoulders. We had the market that came lower. And right here, guys, what did the market do? Right here, it has done something. If I move this out of the way and put a structure level on here, this was our last structure level. What did we do in this zone? Those of you that know how to read structure we violated exactly. This entire area here is what we call the outside return. And if we violate the very lows of it, then we have a potential rotation. And I'm looking at the market coming up to at least a 61.8 fib. And as you can see, we got up to a 50%, never quite got there. And maybe look at shorting the market, looking for a conservative entry. So let's drop down to the 240. And here on the 240, I can't remember who mentioned it, but they were looking at this potential head and shoulders. So there was a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, and a move lower. And the market, well, I'll just draw the head and shoulders out. It was looking like this. And the market, I think, was back up at this point. And there's a few people, or at least one, that was looking at this being a head and shoulders. And I was saying that my concern is, yes, it looks like a head and shoulders, but without confirmation, we don't know that it is. And I always say that head and shoulders is a pattern. And with a pattern, we need a swing in the market, which is a tick. Right up here, we have a swing in the market. But second of all, head and shoulders are what type of pattern are they, guys? Are they a continuation pattern? Are they a rotation pattern? What type of pattern are they? Chuck it in the chat. Let's make the chat a little bit engaging. It is a reversal pattern, okay? And because I am a structure-based trader, that means I am only going to be looking for reversals when it comes into structure. So if I put a structure level on at the close of the candles and at the wicks, and I zoom out and we look left, there is no structure. See this, guys? And this was my concern. Now, I did go on to say that it could very well turn out to be a head and shoulders. But because this is a lower probability trade, because it's not coming to structure, and again, if you've been through the educational material on head and shoulders, you'll hear me say the number one rule for head and shoulders is it has to come into structure because it is a rotation pattern, okay? Simple, makes sense, but it's a simple understanding of trend. And what I did go on to say was that I would be interested if I can get this line right, if we violated structure. Let me just delete that. So I'm going to put a structure level on at the highest point, which is here. And if we zoom in, can somebody tell me, did we or did we not violate structure? And again, for you guys that have been with me for a while or know how to read trend, this is fairly basic stuff. But obviously there are new people within the room. George, yeah. George, exactly. We did not violate it. And in actual fact, we do not get a violation now until we violate the high of the wick. And I've been saying that in actual fact, I would have only been looking for shorting opportunities yesterday. Sorry, not yesterday, the day before, when we was talking about this. And look at what we did. We technically held structure. We put in a lower low, lower close, and we are moving lower. Now, I don't know whether or not we're going to retest the lows. That's the thing. It isn't a high enough probability trade, but I do talk about all the time about having a bias on a currency pair and a bias on every time frame. And my bias was short. And even though this looked like a head and shoulders, I said that, you know, we could very well just see a move to the downside. Of course, we don't know. It could just rally on up here, but this is not a confirmed head and shoulders, okay? Looks pretty, but it doesn't matter if it looks pretty. We need to make sure we follow the rules. So, anybody got anything on the Euro New Zealand? I'm going to drop down to the 60, other than the 49 pip winning trade we've just had. And if you wasn't part of the, the platform or fully subscribed customer, tough, you missed out. So I really don't have a great deal here, guys. I'm still looking bearish. We are coming into this structure zone, and I'm just going to put a structure level on just here. So at the close of the candles and at the low of the wicks, and this is what I like to call the price reversal zone. This is the wicks basically, and this is where we look for those rotation patterns, and they occur all the time. Double bottoms, head and shoulders. What I like about this structure area is we've had a double bottom and it's been recent structure. We have this test right here, and we have 1, 2 further tests just there. I won't go any further back. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tests within this area. So the more times a structure level is tested, do we have a higher probability of seeing a reaction, or do we have a lower probability, guys? Which one do we have? The more tests that we have, is it more likely we're going to see a reaction or less likely? Why are you replying? I'm just going to catch up with the chat. Sarah, nope. Bosa, ABCD, played out on it because of the trade outside of the community. Nope, that didn't make sense. Played out on it because of the spike of the news. Okay, Ian Hunt, would you take that lower probably trade outside of the community? No, I would not, Ian. I have been more cautious with my trading since doing the signal service. My trading is typically more aggressive, and I know you're part of the community, and do you work full time, Ian? Because I know that you can't always commit to being within the chat, but there have been over the past few weeks multiple trading opportunities that we've posted within the live chat, which have gone on to win, literally dozens, and we didn't get involved because we followed the rules 100%, and that's very important. But my trading is typically more aggressive than what I put into the signal service, and there's a very good reason for that, is because the signal service is there for 2 reasons. 1, to make people money, and so I want it to have the highest win rate possible. But 2, it's there to show how I actually get involved with the trade, because 90% of the time you get the video with it and you can watch my full breakdown, my full top-down analysis, and understand the reasonings why. Higher probability and higher reaction markers. Yep, exactly. Afraf, more, yeah. More reactions, and the bigger the reaction as well, guys. The bigger the reaction, so this reaction just here, you can see, was bigger than this reaction, and this reaction here was bigger than the others, so the bigger the reaction as well. So these, I have a rule, and typically if we tested a structure area 3 times, it's classed as major structure. However, if we have one big test where we saw a huge reaction off the dailies, that carries an enormous amount of weight. But this is where a little bit of judgment comes into trading, because this for you may not be a good enough structure area to see a reaction. In actual fact, it may be more than good enough. You may only need 2 reactions. So this is where we have, you just need to have a little bit of judgment in trading and do your back testing on this type of thing. So yes, I would be looking for a reaction here. So let's go down to the 15. And if I was looking for a reaction, targets would only be coming into this structure zone just here, guys. So looking for a small reaction. But the Euro New Zealand does have quite a big ATR, and yeah, there could be 26 pips up for grabs there, which would be a nice day trade. And what I like about this is we've come right into that structure zone. We had the RSI that went oversold. If we drop down to the 5, we could be looking for a rotation pattern. We may see a little double bottom here, guys. The RSI on the 5 is also oversold. We don't know if we've got divergence yet because we've not come back down for a second test. Let me go and take a quick look at the 5 range. I doubt that there's anything on it. But while that's loading, I knew that would happen. Okay, just let me refresh the screen. Okay, so here on the 5 range, you guys should know what a 5 range is by now. I do explain what it is more than enough times. What type of candlestick formation do you see here, guys? And I'm going to move the RSI back up. What's the RSI also done? 3-bar reversal, exactly. A beautiful 3-bar reversal. The 5 range is just a different way of looking at price action. It moves every 5 pips instead of, say, every 5 minutes or 15 minutes or every hour. And George, yep, oversold as well. So we've come into an area where I would have expected a reaction, and looking at it now, based on the fact the RSI went oversold and we have a beautiful 3-bar reversal, a lovely solid red candle, a perfect, it's not called a tombstone doji, it's a tombstone, yeah it is, no sorry, it's a tombstone doji. Okay, the highest reversal doji you can get, if I worded that correctly, and it simply shows that we have all wick and no body, and we closed right at the top. It is called a tombstone doji, so the most powerful doji you can get, and it was followed by a higher close. So breaking this down, is there now a higher probability of going up compared to going down? And everybody should agree on what you're about to say. It should all be a big yes. Yep, exactly. So if you're aggressive, you don't have to be aggressive. 3-bar reversal like this with the RSI isn't a bad trading opportunity. You could get involved now. Enter in now. I would put my stop and ATR below the low, which is currently 5. So that would give you 72. I'd give it a couple of extra pips because we're on the lower time frame. This is not a trade I'm going to take, by the way, guys. It's a little bit too aggressive for me, just a 3-bar reversal. But you could look for targets in the same spot where we'd look for targets based on a double bottom, which would be up there. Is this a trade that anybody would take? I mean, it's a perfectly valid trade. I would have absolutely no problems with anybody taking this trade because we have a fair bit of confluence. It's just I would prefer a rotation pattern, because if we see a double bottom here, what does a double bottom offer that a 3-bar reversal doesn't? And just to give you a bit of help, what do double bottoms form? Yeah, George, not for him. Structure for stop loss. Pete, that's a yes, you trade this, okay. We do not trade 3-bar reversals. Tighter stops. Yeah, exactly, Ian. A double bottom or a double top is actually new structure that's forming. So when the market comes down to a structure level and we bounce off it and we come back down for a retest, now, we don't know it's a confirmed double bottom until we do this, until we violate this point, but it creates new structure. And with new structure, it means that we can have tight stops just underneath here. And it in my opinion, is a higher probability trade than just a 3-bar reversal. But this is quite a strong signal anyway to buy. I would have no problem with anybody going ahead and buying this up. Yeah, a good trading opportunity. We'll actually monitor this and just see what happens, because I'm sure this will play out before the end of this webinar. In fact, it's at 10:40. Have we really been going 40 minutes already? So we'll keep this on the radar. Let me know, guys, if we do maybe form a double bottom on the 5 minutes. Is there anything else to go over here on the Euro New Zealand? Any other questions? Okay, Vinco, take care. If not, we will move on to the next one, and I'm going to keep that open actually. Okay, let's go and take a look at the New Zealand dollar. Pound yen. Oh, driving me insane, that trade. Okay. New Zealand dollar. We'll start off on the daily time frame. So we're in consolidation here on the New Zealand dollar, but there are two 26.18 trades currently playing out. So I'm going to put a structure level on here. 1, 2, 3 tests. In actual fact, first of all, we did this, we came down, pull back, we came down, we went higher. Right here, this is a confirmed break above, close above this level. George, thanks Chris, must run. Got a few things to get done before the Vault event this evening. Oh, of course, it's the 11th. Of course, have a great time, George. I won't be there, although I'm actually in England, would you believe? So one of the rare times there's an event on, but enjoy yourself there, George. So if we put a fib on from the swing low to the swing high, you can see price came into a 61.8 and we are now seeing a bullish move. However, if we drop down to the 240, we have another double top that formed just up here. One test, two tests, and if I throw a fib on, you can then look for that 61.8 fib, which is where we're at now, and you can look to sell the market. Now, if we have two conflicting signals like this, which are offering the same strategy basically, they're both 26.18 trades, one saying buy, one saying sell, what do you think we should do in this situation? Do you think we should hedge our bets and just sell the bigger one? Or, sell the bigger one, or no, sell the smaller one, buy the bigger one, or vice versa? What do you think we should do? Stay out. Yeah, stay out. There's higher probability trades. We don't know which way this market is going to go, so let's stay out of the trade. Other than that, here on the 240, we had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower. In actual fact, I think we had a cipher on here, 26.18 and cipher. Yeah, okay. So we did have a cipher pattern on here. Sarah, I remember you saying that you trade advanced patterns. Have you seen the cipher pattern on the 4 hour? I'm going to draw it out for those other members. So we have X to A to B, B to C. CD completion up here around the 786. Now, Sarah, I'm not too sure if you know, but we have ceased trading advanced patterns because they are the lowest probability, the lowest performing strategy that we actually have. So we only use them for things like trend continuation or entries into bigger moves, though we will trade them if we get a rotation pattern at the X leg. Right, so the 786 is up here. So if you do trade advanced patterns, you have a cipher pattern setting up there. Doesn't meet my rules, okay. What I'm going to be looking for on this pattern is I'm going to highlight the wicks, and we do that by the highest candle close to the highest wick, and that is going to be the price reversal zone. So if we see price push all the way up into the zone, I'm going to be dropping down a time frame and I'm going to be looking for a rotation pattern, double top or a head and shoulders. It may even offer something else. It may offer a rising channel. It may offer a 3-point move, something like that. What I really like about this cipher actually is this. See this on the left here, the X leg. What do we have? And for me, patterns that have this formation have a higher probability of winning. And I'm going to ask you why in a moment. So where these two arrows are, what do we have here? It's a double top, okay? And I just mentioned before that double tops, they are new structure that forms. So does this mean that if price comes up to this level, we're going to have a higher probability of seeing a hold than if we just had this level. See the difference here? This is just price that came up to a single point and reversed. This was new structure that formed, and so we have a higher probability of holding this area. And so for me, this is these advanced patterns, or anything with an X leg or a pole, has a higher probability, because if we can get our stops behind that double top, it provides more safety, more security. Markers, it is a major structure, was also tested several times when you go further left. When we go further left. Yeah, look at that. There we go. So guys, and this is nothing magical I'm talking about here. These are things that you will probably already know, but pointing them out is the simple fact that when I tested advanced patterns, these had a higher probability of winning when they had a double top or double bottom than those that just didn't. Just because of that reason, it forms new structure. It provides a better place to put your stop. So let's drop down to the 15 then. And we did have actually on the 5 a pattern. It was too small to take, so I didn't bother posting it in. Yeah, the pattern was actually here. Actually, it was too small to take, but we had a move higher, and then we had a triangle. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, looking for that 127, and as you can see, targets were just hit on it. But it was too small, guys. But it's great to see. You know, how many trades have we seen over the past few weeks, breakout patterns that we've won on, or that have played out but never gave us an entry? And if we was actually in all of them, we'd probably have a win rate of 80%. It's been really good lately for those breakout patterns. Is there any type of trend here that we can maybe get involved in? No. It would be aggressive on the 15. Move higher. Pull back. Move. No, there's nothing here for me. No. So I'm going to be waiting for price to go up to that double top, to the wicks, and potentially look for a rotation up there on the New Zealand dollar. If there's nothing else, guys, on the New Zealand dollar, I'm going to move on to the dollar CAD, which is where I'm looking for a short. Okay, dollar CAD. And apologies, guys, for the delay again. It's just one laptop that I'm using, so don't have my 4 screens. So dollar CAD, structure level on at our lowest point just here, and as we look right, we have a confirmed violation, so we would be looking for shorting opportunities also. The problem is right now that price is actually back down at structure, so the move has already happened. What I'm going to be waiting for now is for price to break this level, look for a pullback and a chance to get short. So with that bias in mind, I'm going to drop down to the 240. I'll move this structure level down, and as you can see, there's nothing here. We are literally back down at structure. I think I also spoke about shorting this maybe in the last webinar based on this within this zone. I don't think it offered any opportunities though. Let's go to the 60. No, it didn't. So my prediction is we're going to come lower, but until we violate that daily level, there's nothing that I'm going to be interested in here. So for me, this is one we're just going to sit on our hands and wait. It may be one for tomorrow if we get the confirmed violation and a pullback. Anybody got anything on the dollar CAD? If not, we will scrub that out. Euro dollar potential short I've written. Just go and take a look at that. Yeah, this was a very weak opportunity, but structure level on at the closes of the candles. And again, we spoke about this currency pair where we'd predict that we would come down to test the closes of the candles. However, I said, be cautious. We have the 112 psychological number right here and we're testing it. And I would not be comfortable taking shorts. And look at what we did. We actually failed to hit the closes of the candles, and we've seen a rally from that point. This actually brings me on to a little bit of a lesson actually. When I take targets, where do I take my targets, guys? Do I take them at the low of the wick? Do I take them dead on the closes of the candles, or do I take them above the closes of the candles? They are the three options you've got. Tell me how I trade, how I take my targets. And you can just guess, and you've got a 33% chance of being right. Which way do I take my targets? Okay, Ashraf thinks the closes of the candle. Ian above the closes of the candles. Pete below the wicks. Okay, the only one that was correct was Ian. Well done, Ian. We take them above the closes of the candles. Okay, so let me run through this. This is very important. Based on the way I trade, which may or may not meet your rules, but this is the way price works. When we move from one structure zone to another, the majority of the time we come down to test the closes of the candles. Okay? And so what we don't want to happen is for price to come down, fall just a few pips short, which does happen, guys, and does not get our fill. So I always front run like this. So this is where I would have had my targets, particularly since there was a psychological number. And to prove a point, how many of you were in the pound Aussie ABCD pattern with the 240 double bottom? And I'm going to prove this point right now based on yesterday's live trade. Give me a yes if you was in that trade where we got 87 pips up to a 90 pip target. Just give me a yes if you was in that trade. And while you're typing in, I'm going to go to the pound Aussie and prove a point. Exactly, Ashraf. The close of the candles minus a few pips. It's actually very important that, and if you go ahead and test that, you will find the close. I mean, we may just rally straight through. It depends if it's trend continuation, but the majority of the time we test the closes of the candles. But there are those instances when we do just fall short, and I'm going to prove how we do just fall short in this instance. So this was the pound Aussie, the AB equals CD pattern. Down here was the valid double bottom. In fact, this illustration is going to show you how we fell short of the 382. But anyway, I think you'll be able to relate to it. Now, I front run, or I front ran this trade by I think 7 pips, something like that. So 7 pips will be there. I think I was at 180.45. So maybe 7 or 8 pips, something like that, to make sure I got the fill. And look what happened. We fell short of hitting the fib. And the same thing happens with the closes of the candles. So it's very important that we front run. And particularly just going back to the euro dollar, particularly because we had that psychological number, then we wanted to make sure that we maybe even front run a bit more as a result of it. Okay, because the last thing you want to do is to be in a winning trade. You were right with the entry, you were right with the stop, you got the move, but just because you wasn't fully aware of where you should be taking your profits, and you should maybe be back a little bit from the closes of the candles, you missed out on what might have been just a 20 pip winning trade. It might have been a 90 pip winning trade. So a very valuable lesson. Closes of the candles minus a few pips. Always take into account psychological numbers. Let's drop down to the 240 if there's nothing else here on the dailies. And I was here on the 240. It's a slightly different story. If you're a little bit more aggressive and you think that price can still come a little bit lower, you can move the trend line down to the closes of the candles, and you can see in this instance we didn't test them, and there is a structure zone here where you could look for shorting opportunities and maybe look for a retest down to this level. Cody, you've been there. I have. When I started trading, you know, I was very active when I started trading, and it drove me insane. I was right so many times but didn't hit targets just by a few pips, and it still happens, guys, and you know, sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. Yesterday I've just shown you the pound Aussie trade. Those of you that are not part of the chat system or were not in that trade, I've just proven to you there that we just fell short of targets, and that is part of trading. Also yesterday, those of you that were also in the trade with me on the New Zealand yen, we actually went 52 pips into profit. We went 4 pips past my take profit, but because it was news and it happened at 3 in the morning when the spread was larger, it did not take. So yesterday, you know, those of you that get the signals and were in those trades, it was a painful day. We was up 87 pips on the pound Aussie with 3 pips away from targets. It was out for break even. Then on the New Zealand yen, we were 52 pips up, 4 pips past our take profit, and it didn't take. That's 140 pips yesterday, where, you know, I don't like to use the word luck in trading because that is just how the trade played out. But that is what happened. But the good thing, and the thing that we need to pat ourselves on the back for, is we had a plan. We entered a valid strategy with correct entries, stops, and correct targets. But we were a little bit unlucky with 2 fairly big trades. But can you imagine if those trades had hit, guys? 140 pips, and technically one of them did hit, just didn't take. And but what does that show? That shows that the quality of the trades we're taking is very good, and we are following the rules. And so while it's difficult, pat on the back to everybody that was in them and stuck through them. Sarah, that was rough. It was rough. And I know, Sarah, you had a 8-to-1 reward to risk on that New Zealand yen trade. Sometimes I have a pretty good memory for somebody that can't remember what currency pair we just looked at. Cody, gotta love trading, love playing with your mind. Yeah. Marcus, banks have dynamic spreads. When markets move that fast, they widen the spreads due to lack of liquidity. Exactly. Yep. Soon as a big news event like that comes up, and it's during the Asia session, and I tell you that happened dead on 3 in the morning because my alert, I got up straight away. I checked my phone. it was only 22 pips up. When I logged on to my laptop, I was only 17 pips up. So within the space of around 90 seconds, it had gone from 52 pips up to about 17 pips. So I couldn't even manually take it. But that's why I like having the alerts, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes we spike a little bit further and it still doesn't take, and it gives me time to manually take it. So that's why I have the alerts. But in that instant, it just didn't come off for me. Bosa, it messes with your brain. It does, Bosa. It was difficult, yesterday was difficult. But as a community, we're stronger. And we've woken up this morning to 2 winning trades, okay? So we did not let those emotions affect us yesterday, because we are part of this community. And as a result of psychology, basically, and following the plan, we had the pound dollar triangle that hit for 30 pips in the night, and we also had the euro New Zealand, which you've just seen there, that's hit for 48. So we've banked nearly 80 pips, but we did not allow yesterday to affect us. Okay, now we only have 14 people logged on currently. But as the day goes on, there'll be 100 to 200 people that will actually watch this webinar. And some of those people will be looking for the golden rule, or the golden strategy, the strategy that wins 80, 90, 100% of the time, that has a 10-to-1 reward to risk. Well, there isn't a golden strategy like that. In fact, in my opinion, if you want, how do I phrase this? If you want for me to tell you the secret, then the secret is psychology. And I don't think I've really heard anywhere say that. There's a lot of people that and places that preach psychology, but if you want to know how to be consistently profitable, it is psychology. That's it, guys. That is the secret. Might even put it on the website. Register for free and find out the secret to success for free. And it's just a word, psychology. That's the secret. So let's go and take a look at the 60. Got a little double top action going on here. Let's take a look at this. Okay. First of all, guys, this was a breakout pattern. And like I said earlier, these breakout patterns, if there's room to come lower, typically the middle of them offer great places to look for shorting opportunities. So let's just take a quick look at this, because this might be an at market trade. So from the lowest close of the candle to the lowest wick, that's what we highlight, and this will be classed as the first chance entry. We drop one time frame lower. We have a double top, we have the RSI. 1 second, guys, this is invalid, I think. Let me zoom in here. Okay, get rid of that. It's very important we get this correct. So from the close of the candle, now I'm going to have to measure this out. 1 second, guys. This is how accurate we must be in trading. Where the heck is my data box? Right. The lowest close is this one. So the close is 112.78. Okay, so 112.78. 112.78. Let's drop down to the 60. And the close is 112.78 also. This is a valid double top. Okay, hang on, I've still got to make sure that we've come up for the retest. The close is 112.78. The high is 112.78. Okay, so that's valid. We have the RSI confirmation. Over bought with divergence. That's given us a valid double top. What does it look like on the 15? Sorry guys, I'm just either talking to myself or concentrating. Take a look at the 60 again. So we've come to the middle of that. Am I predicting a move all the way to that level though, or could this just be a small move? That is the question. We could see a move all the way back down to 112s. It's the risk on the trade. 10 pips, 27. Okay. Marcus, 60 wick did not retest close of the first test for a valid double top. It does on my data. I'm just going to double check it again, guys. And I think what we might wait for here may be a 26.18 now, because there's might be 30 pips of risk here. So let me bring back on the data box. Right, the first test is here. The close is 112.78. The high is 112.78. So on my data on the 60, this is valid. Just let me double check again. We've got 7 pips of risk. If we enter in now, 7 pips above the high, it's 24 pips. My problem is targets. My problem is targets, guys. I don't have a prediction other than maybe a retest here. But I think that we could see that retest down to this level. 27 for 56. Take a look at the 15. We didn't come down to test the closes of the candles on the daily, which is what I like. Can't get involved on this because it's not my main charts. Okay, 1 second, guys. I'm going to get short at market. Okay, guys, playing for a retest of that 112 area. 1 second, guys, 1 second. Just going to put you on hold for a second while I get short on my main account. Okay, guys, sorry, I had to get short on this account and also my main account. So I am now currently short this trade. It is valid for me, so we have 23 for 62. And I'm just going to post this into okay, so we are short euro dollar double top. Okay, so that took quite a while to work out there, but for me that was valid. Of course, if your data is different, then you stay out of the trade. So we have something like an almost 3-to-1 reward to risk on this trade. We will wait and see what happens. Just to run over this again, we didn't quite come down to retest those lows down here, the closes of the candles. We saw the bounce. we've come into this internal structure level on the 240. You can see that this was a breakout pattern, and just like I explained before, if there's room to come lower, typically we see the reversal in the middle of these patterns. Here on the 240, we did not go overbought, but on the 60, after checking, I think it was 3 times, was it guys? It was a valid double top with the RSI confirmation. So I'm actually short at market, and very nice reward to risk there. Just going to triple check targets. Playing for a retest there, not a complete retest of that level. Yeah, I am predicting price to come lower. So in that example, I'm quite happy to do that. Okay, guys. Let's hope we can get some follow through here. Let me catch up with the chat. Sorry about that, guys. It was one of those. It was very, very close, and I needed to make sure it was correct, and it was dead on to the pip. So we'll wait and see what happens. Cody 2618 possibly. Yeah. If you look here on the hourly, we have actually now violated the V point just here. So you could now look for a 2618, a more conservative entry. Of course, what could happen here is it's come into the structure level. We could just see this thing reverse. So that's why it's important to have a higher time frame perspective. And this is a higher probability trade for me because we didn't come down to test the dailies, and we came into the middle of these patterns, and you actually need to back test this because I trade so many breakout patterns. I see this quite a lot, and when I did a lot of testing I picked up on this, and it was really the middle of these patterns. And so if there is room to the downside, and there is just, and we put in a conservative entry in the middle of them, then it's a higher probability trade for me. And because we've got quite a good reward to risk here, almost 3 to 1, I'm quite happy to take this trade. So we'll wait and see what happens though. We are due some losers, so you never know. Sarah saying for you it was out by 1 pip. Yep. I know Marcus is going to hate me for saying this, but Marcus's data was also out by 1 pip last week or the week before, when we had the Euro Aussie 124 pip continuation trade. Sorry to bring it up, Marcus, that we all got in and we all won for 124 pips, but he couldn't take it because his data showed it violated structure by 1 pip. Mine didn't. It showed a structure hold. So that's where there's a difference there in terms of brokers, because there is no central bank. And that's just another reason why the market moves, because for me this was a valid trade, so I sold it, but for Marcus it wasn't, and Sarah it wasn't, and so we will see if there's more sellers than buyers. Let's hope that there is. So welcome, Akil. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Marcus, don't tell me. Well, you did get your own back with that 15 pip winner the day after, which I missed. Oh dear. Okay, well, I got nothing else on the euro dollar, guys. We will wait and see if that plays out or not. The euro New Zealand, that 3-bar reversal we said was an aggressive entry, may now be offering a little double bottom. Let's go and take a look. Does it look like we're forming a double bottom here, guys? If you've only just joined us, then this was just a small day trade we were looking at. Do we have the RSI confirmation? We do, but we have not as yet come down into the closes of the candles, which is what we need to validate this potential double bottom. But if that happens, then we could be looking at a risk of around, what's the ATR? 3. We probably want 2 ATRs here, so 6 pips below that level will make me 6. So we'd be looking at a risk of around this much and a reward of this much. Now we may or may not come lower, but that now looks like a far healthier reward to risk than simply entering in based on that 3-bar reversal. Do you all agree, guys? Now, of course, in waiting for this extra confirmation, we just may see the market go higher. This market now just may rally all the way up to targets, and we may have missed this winning opportunity. Because we had that valid 3-bar reversal on the 5 range. Just let me bring it over. But I would much prefer to be cautious than aggressive. So we will wait and see what happens with that trade. Let's see what else we had on the radar. Pound yen. Come on. Really? For those of you that have just joined us, this was the 270 pip pound yen trade, which has been driving a lot of us insane. But as a community, we've been holding fast, and we've held this trade, and it's been painful. If I just zoom out, this was the big trade where I actually got involved up here. We had the breakout. We decided to put in another breakout pattern. And this was one of the rare occasions where I was able to increase my position size. And I did that. I was able to double. Those of you that were part of the signal service, I actually put in for you just a 50% increase so that your stop was further back, because I want you guys to have your stop further back than where I had mine. And this second breakout pattern that we have here, we broke out. We pulled back. So we broke out, we pulled back. Where did we pull back to? This trend line. And you can see we put in a beautiful 3-bar reversal. And there was a few people that were flapping a little bit within the chat, and I was saying that, look, we've got our entry, we've got a high probability trade, we could see a retracement, we could see it to this trend line, and that's exactly what we did. And we put in a beautiful 3-bar reversal, and from there we have once again put in a move lower, so another 3-point move. The problem that we have here, okay, is that we haven't violated this structure level. We've actually held it, and there's nothing we can do, guys. The rules are that we have to wait for targets to be hit. So if I just go out to the 240, my projected targets here are that 127, because we're in trend. We've had confirmation that we can go lower, but it's been a painful trade. And the 127 is actually, I actually moved my targets so that they're based on the smaller breakout pattern. So that's why they're here and not based on the bigger breakout pattern. But if that was to hit, that would be worth around 340 pips to me. So it would make the highest winning pip value trade that I've ever had. You guys remember the dollar CAD, which I cannot stop mentioning for some reason, where we got 270 pips up and it never hit. This is a painful trade, guys, but we have to hold it for those targets to be hit. So fingers crossed we can get that hit. Either way, we are up this week. I think, what were we up, guys, this week? 90 pips, something like that, with those two winners this morning. But that's the pound yen anyway. Does anybody have anything else on the pound yen? Yeah, playing games, it certainly is, Marcus. Pete, I got to say, Pete, well done to you, because I know that some of these trades have been playing with your mind, particularly the higher time frame trades. And do talk about this. It's easier to be in lower time frame trades because they're over quicker. You either lose quicker or you win quicker. And it doesn't allow for that psychology, for the emotion to kick in. Whereas the higher time frame, like this 60-minute or 240 trade, when I entered it, I knew the likelihood was I was going to be in it for a minimum of several days. And I was mentally prepared for price not just to rally straight down to targets, to maybe enter trend. And we didn't just enter trend. On what we actually did is we did all this. You know, pain. Then we broke out of this second pattern, pull back again, and again broke down. So pain. But as a community, we are stronger, we're supportive, we're helping each other, and we're all praying that this thing goes on and hits. It'd be a beautiful week if it did. And I think we deserve it after the 90 pip pound Aussie trade, which came 3 pips away yesterday, and the New Zealand yen trade, which went 4 pips past targets in the night, which didn't take. So I do think we do a little bit of luck, even though there's no such thing as luck in trading. So yeah, it's the retracement that kills Pete. That's absolutely right. Again, guys, I don't have too much on the radar. If you guys do, then please let me know. Let's go and take a look at something else. We've been through the Aussie dollar, we've been through the euro dollar, we've been through the... Don't think we did the dollar yen, did we? I was going to do it, but then I got sidetracked. Let's go to the dollar yen. Take a look at it. Sarah, seriously, yeah, it's a killer. How's your psychology, Sarah? How do you handle trades, lower time frame trades, higher time frame trades? How does it affect you? Because in my opinion, that's the number one reason people fail. It's psychology, and that's the golden rule. That's the winning strategy. If you can overcome the psychology, well, then you will be profitable. Of course, having a profitable strategy is helpful, and the more profitable the strategy, then the easier it is. But if you want to be profitable, it's psychology, because that's what lets everyone down. It let me down. Who was in the webinar when I told you all how much I lost originally in trading? Just give me a yes if you was in that webinar. Spent about an hour and a half talking about my trading journey and how much I lost originally, and that very dark, deep hole that I was in. Sarah, a benefit of being autistic is that I'm pretty emotionally removed. Okay, well, you're lucky, because I'm actually a very emotional person, and for me, trading is very difficult. Yeah, plenty of you were. For those of you that were not, £300,000 is what I lost originally in trading. Okay, I was as low as you could get, and it was psychology that brought it back. So, dollar yen on the dailies. We were in trend, and I'll draw this out for you guys. So from our highest point, we had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback to this point, a move lower, and then as we've pulled back, I'm going to put a structure level on right at the highest point of the wicks and zoom in. Can anybody tell me what we have now done? Right here, this goes by many names, but what have we done? Cody, I haven't named all the webinars, but it was the one that was an hour and 45, I think. It was only a few days ago, but look for the one that was an hour and 45. Okay. Higher, higher, higher close. Break above, close above. Yep, okay. We have violated this level of structure. And sorry guys, I'm having somebody else knocking on the door. As you guys know, I'm actually in England at the moment, working away, but with my family at the same time. So potential rotation. Okay, this is an initial structure high. In fact, guys, just one moment while I just have a word with this lady. Okay. So we're back. So that was an initial structure high. It's an indication of a potential rotation. So here on the dailies, we were trending bearishly. and we've now broken out of that trend and we've violated. So you can call this a violation, an initial structure high, a break above, close above. What you call it doesn't matter. What is important is that you recognize that we closed above this structure level, which is the outside return. And if we just take a bigger, broader look at price action, we're in this giant wick down here. Now this wick is all buying pressure. At any point within this wick, we could see buying pressure kick in, and that's what we've done here. So we are no longer looking for trend continuation opportunities. Yeah, Cody, this time it's not security. I moved my car, thank God. It was nice. So let's drop down to the 240. So here on the 240, if I put that structure level back on, you can see we had that violation. And we'll just draw out the trend on the 240. Move higher, pull back, move higher, pull back, move higher. Nope. The move higher was here, a pull back, then a move higher, and now we've moved lower. So this here was actually the outside return on the 4 hour, and what we've just done now is violate to the downside. So this is nothing but consolidation, guys. The dailies, we violated structure. On the 240, we violated structure. These are the opportunities that we just want to stay away from. We want to be looking only for things like breakout patterns, maybe advanced patterns or rotation patterns, double tops, double bottoms, head and shoulders, things like that. So we would only get those on the lower time frame because there's nothing on the higher time frame. So let's go and take a look at the 60. Yes, Karen, structure broke. Marcus, as we have just closed shy above the outside return, we may see a deeper correction. Yep, absolutely, we very well may see that. Messy, Cody says, messy. I did have, I think, a double bottom, potential double bottom on the dollar yen. Yes, I did, but it's not playing out. So I'm going to put a structure level on. Let me delete it off. I'm going to put a structure level on at the close of the candles and the wicks. This is going to be our price reversal zone. This is where we're going to look for rotation patterns, double bottoms and head and shoulders. We checked the RSI first. We did go oversold, so we have the potential for a double bottom. And we're seeing quite a nice rally here as well. And we violated that level of structure. And as we look to see, did this come into any type of major structure where we may see a double bottom form? Well, we had one minor test there. We had a test here, a test there, that's 3. A test here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's keep going. Okay, what else did we have here? Don't know if this was valid. Yeah, this was valid because of the wicks. 9, 10. So we've just gone over at the start of the webinar talking about the more tests an area has, the higher the probability we're going to see a reaction. And we spoke about small little tests and big tests. And typically speaking, the more tests we have in an area, the higher the probability we are that we're going to see a reaction. So this is why I had a double bottom within this zone. And look at what we've done, guys. We've seen a reaction. And really in trading, that's all we're looking for. We are looking for areas or zones where we could see a reaction. Now, unfortunately, we haven't got the double bottom. We may still get it. But what I can do is, again, I always like to form a bias on every currency pair and on every time frame. Doesn't matter if there's confirmation of it or not. It's forming a bias based on your experience and what price is telling you as to what we may do. And when we were down in this area, based on those number of tests and the RSI, even though the higher time frame was just a mess and consolidation, I thought that we could see a reaction in this area. And if it did form a double bottom, well, I would have had tight stops here. I would have had a risk of this much. And guys, give me an indication of where targets would have been. I'm going to make that red. So this would have been my risk, a very small amount of risk. Where would my targets have been, guys? If I leave my crosshairs up here to give you some form of indication, and you know I'm a structure-based trader. Structure is absolutely key to my trading. Where would targets have been? And just while I'm waiting for this 15-second delay to kick in, I'm going to see if euro dollar has gone into profit. Nope. Okay. At least rather euro New Zealand for 50. Okay. Structure 108.30s. Okay, 108.30s. Yep, exactly right here. Right here is where I would be looking. This is previous structure. Now we can also do something else to see if that's a good area to take targets. What other tools, what other piece of equipment can we use to see if that's an area that we could go to? And I love to use them when we typically see a directional move and there's no retracements. Because typically when we see a directional move like this, we see a retracement to a certain fib level. Patrick, fibs exactly. From our swing high to our swing low. Look at that. Let me just leave on the 382. It is not a coincidence that the 382 has come into this structure level. So would everybody agree? Cody says sexy. Oh, thank you, Cody. I'm not into men though. Would everybody agree that that would be the correct area to take at least initial targets? Give me a yes if you agree. Sarah, lol. Sarah was asking earlier, is she the only female within the chat? Yeah, we've got about 70 people registered now. You're the only lady, Sarah. Are you a lady, Sarah, though? Marcus, yep. Sarah, yes, that it would, absolutely. So what we've been able to do is take a currency pair which was not in trend on the daily or the 240, it was providing nothing, but yet dropping down the time frames, we can still look for those conservative entries, those double bottoms, those head and shoulders. In actual fact, let's drop to the 15. Let's see if there was anything here. I did look at this, as I say, this morning, but didn't provide anything in it. Not providing anything now. But very, very simple strategy. If we got the double bottom, that would have been our risk, and this would have been our reward. And these are the types of opportunities I like, where we have a small amount of risk for 15 and a nice reward for 36 over a 2-to-1 reward to risk. Now, of course, we may not go on and hit, but it's looking like we have a high probability that we will. And so this is why it's important that we look at every time frame, because there are always opportunities to buy and sell. But what we need to do is look at those high probability trade setups that meet the rules that we've tested over time. Apart from that, there's nothing here right now, guys. So I didn't have anything else on the radar. Good grief, pound yen. Ugh. I'm going to go out for the day, and when I come back, that thing is just going to drop and hit targets. I really hope it is. So just that and the euro dollar, guys, is the only things that I'm in. Anybody got anything they want to look at before we wrap this up, guys? Yeah, depends. Depends what we do when we hit that area. For me, I don't know. I wouldn't have any bias on this currency pair then. That was a decent level of structure where we had the RSI confirmation. It's a place where I knew there was room to go to targets, and I knew I could have got tight stops underneath this level. So it provided a good opportunity. But we see this so many times. I actually have more trades that go on to win like this without me being involved than I do actually have winning trades that I'm involved with. I'm right considerably more times than I'm involved with the trade. But I like to be conservative. I like to wait for the confirmation. So no trade on that one. Khan, yeah, and also opportunity to double position. I actually only implement that in certain situations, Khan. Really when we're in a heavy trend or when we have a breakout pattern and then we enter trend and there's enough pips in it for me to add to my position while still having my stop plenty far enough back not to be stopped out. I actually don't need to add to positions. So far, guys, we're coming into our 4th week now, aren't we? And we're up. Good grief, what are we up? Okay, just let me go back to the system. I'm not too sure what we're up. So if this is our 4th week, then 1, 2, it would have been Monday the 24th. No, that's not right. I'm just seeing what we're actually up since we started. Yeah, no, it's the 17th. So from the 17th, there we go. Okay, so from the 17th, we're up. Does that look right? From the 17th of June. Yeah, okay, so we're up 335 pips. It's actually more now, isn't it? Because we need to add 70 pips for the 2 winners this morning. So we're up 405 pips, and we're hoping that we're going to get that big pound yen trade, which is really rallying the wrong way. So we don't need to add to positions to make profit from Forex. We can simply trade high probability strategies that have good risk to reward ratios and still end up being very, very profitable. Can everybody see that? So guys, if there is nothing else, we will wrap it up, and I will see you all in the next webinar. I want to thank you all for joining me. Have a great day trading, and I will see you all in the chat.